call to order this council meeting in committee. Welcome back for 2016 official start to the good year ahead. Any pecuniary interests to be declared? Seeing none. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Charlene Jackson. Be it resolved that the Council and Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the agenda for the January 6, 2016 meeting. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? And at this point, I turn it over to our Economic Development Chair, Terry Miller.
Okay, we'll start the economical committee. Can't talk today, sorry. We start with Christine with a new township promo video.
So this is a really fun way to start off the afternoon. This is a project that Andrew's been working on very hard for the last few months. We hired a local company out of Beachburg to produce this promotional video of Whitewater. Hope it may be a little loud when it first comes up, so you've got your finger on the button, and here we go.
I think that one of the cool things about the world today is that you can set up shop almost anywhere if you have a high-speed internet connection. The question really is, where do you want to set up your business? And for me, it was almost a no-brainer. The Whitewater region has so much to offer business owners, families, kids. It's a really great place to set up a business and to set up a life.
Whitewater region in the Ottawa Valley is sandwiched between Toronto and Ottawa, so we're really well situated for a business. It taps into all the brain power, technology, and decision making, but we have the freedom to do what we'd like to do right here in Whitewater region.
So being in the Whitewater region helps us out a lot because we're in close proximity to Ottawa, which is only about an hour drive from here. I feel like it's a huge advantage to have a manufacturing company here. It's like a golden egg that nobody knows about. It's very cheap, very accessible, and there's lots of space to do whatever you need. In 2011, we purchased a 23,000 square foot school. It was repurposed from an elementary school into a manufacturing plant.
This is a place where the cost of living is so affordable. Taxes are low. I mean, there's so many financial reasons, aside from the lifestyle reasons, that make Whitewater region an ideal place to set up shop. And it was truthfully one of the best decisions we ever made, was coming back here and setting up the business in the Whitewater region.
One of the things that really helped me get established was the support that I was given by the municipality. The people are very approachable. At no time did I feel like I was going to be restricted. It was almost like anything was possible.
Since we started, we've been really blown away with the support we've had from all of the locals. Word of mouth has been huge into growing our business. When you're operating on a really low marketing budget, it's really nice to have people coming into your business saying that, oh, so-and-so told me about it. And you know, that's the reason I came in.
There's so much potential for this place to explode, but it needs forward-thinking individuals who want a better lifestyle out of the city, who want a great place to raise a family, who want a relaxed pace of life, but still easy reach to all those city amenities. the Whitewater region needs those people to come here and to build the business community. And it's happening. And it's exciting to see happen, and it's an exciting time for anybody, any business owner, to set up shop here and be part of that growth.
Way to go, Andrew. We got the final cut at midnight last night.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on the video? No? Councillor Mackay?
I thought it was very good. Well done, and makes you want to live there, doesn't it?
I guess so. Okay, so we're moving on, Christine?
Yes, now I have the pleasure, come on up, Kent. I'd like to introduce Kent Fitzhugh from the Ontario Ministry of Rural Affairs, and he's in their Rural Economic Development Department. Kent has a bit of a presentation for us about rural economic development.
Thank you. Can anyone see the water just spilled all over the front of me? No? Hey, good. So to be embarrassed, because I was embarrassed about 5 minutes ago. Okay, give me 1 second. I wish every presentation I made had a video like that. That's kind of an intro piece. Maybe I'll just take it with me from a whitewater region everywhere I go. There we go. Thank you. So just quickly, my name is Kent Fitzhugh, as Christine mentioned, and I work out of the Kemptville office with OMAFRA. I'm a rural agriculture and economic development advisor with that group. And I was asked to come up and provide a kind of a community economic development 101 presentation that we developed really for kind of post-council information sessions to get people up to speed to what rural economic development was. And it's kind of taken on and taken off. We present this, we continue to present it well after the election because people keep wanting to see our take on rural economic development, so we're happy to keep trotting it out. It's a really good presentation. This one is about 20 slides long. It's the super abridged version, so it may differ a little bit from the copies that you have, but I can also make it available to you, Christine, as we go forward. So, oops, let me just, there we go. The goals of the presentation as it was developed, understanding key economic development concepts, again from a rural context, because that's who our client is. Identifying a range of economic development activities, and again, there's a wide range of them. They don't all apply to every community, but there's some that do, and we felt it was worth just putting the wide range of those activities out there just so everyone can get a look at them. And again, identifying gaps and opportunities for developing economic development strategies and plans, and really where that's going is our support with respect to helping communities develop action plans or strategic plans as they relate to economic development. And that's something, a service that we provide and have been and continues to do so. So quickly, community economic development, and we, if you ask us, it is a process, and it takes time and it takes resources. We like to see a strategic process or strategic action planning with respect to community economic development. And when it comes down to the community, like it says in the slide, it's the use of resources to attract capital, increase physical, commercial, and business development and job opportunities for its residents. So when you boil it down to that's what we're after. And with anything, all that work is typically hidden. We grabbed this iceberg analogy not that long ago. It takes a lot of work. It takes planning. It takes community interaction, the work of staff to get stuff done and to make things happen. And with anything, the more that there's a direction or plan attached to those efforts, the quicker and more efficient you are at reaching and achieving your goals with respect to economic development. So why? I'm not sure anyone's ever said why not. we asked Dr. Wayne Caldwell from Guelph to answer that question, and he said rural communities are engaging in community economic development in order to improve the lives of their families, friends, and neighbors. And that's true, and I think even looking back at the video that we just saw, you could apply that to the messaging that you got from the business owners and the people that were living in the region. Really, that's what you're selling. You want people to be here, to be happy, to be living, working here or working close to here. I mean, that's what community economic development is about. And it doesn't change that much when you go into our larger urban centers, but the approach is a bit different with respect to resources that you have in hand to accomplish that from a rural perspective. The goal of community economic development, again, job creation, retention, tax-based growth, we want to see that, and quality of life. And that's also promoting that quality of life that you have. And again, going back to that video and that drone shot of following the guy on the river or anywhere else, I mean, that's what people want to see when they're looking at your community. Why would I want to be there? What's there that I don't have where I am now? What's going to pull me there? And even the name Whitewater, when I think of it, I'm thinking of the water, rapids, and everything else, and typically an environment that doesn't surround me presently in Kemptville. So it doesn't get in Aquay where I'm from, but not so much Kemptville. So an economy on a very simple scale, money coming into the community is represented by the water going into this bucket, and money leaving the community, and that can be either by my business migration out, people moving out, people shopping online, people shopping in other centers. That's where you're seeing your money go. And as we know with online shopping, that increases by percent every year. I was with a group working with them and asked them how many people shop more online this Christmas than the previous Christmas, and everybody's hands shot up. It's something, it's the new normal. So these are the things that we see when we talk about money leaving your community. So in terms of growing the wealth of your community and your economy, well, bring in new money. Attract and start new businesses, promoting yourself. Expand existing businesses, supporting the businesses that you've got. They're already here. They've made the investment. They need your support. Export development, if that's something or a demographic or an area that is important to you, you want to support that. Getting people to spend money in your community. I always like to say I don't want tourists, I want visitors, because visitors hang around longer, and the longer they hang around, the more money they spend. That's who you want. And encourage people to live in your community, showing them why living just outside of Ottawa in your community makes a lot of sense from a business perspective, from a quality of life. You want to promote these things. Plugging the leaks. So the above, we're talking about getting more water into that bucket and keeping it there through the plugging of these leaks. Retaining existing businesses, making sure that, there's support. And that was even mentioned in the video, which is great, where a municipality can support its local business. You want to retain, because it's a lot harder to get the new stuff in here. I worked for a community where we hemorrhaged factories, automotive parts, and there was no getting them back. So you really want to protect what you've got in any demographic. And that can also be by local initiatives. So you'll see that where you'll have initiatives in getting people to spend locally and trying to get them off online or leaving your community to buy. So again, plugging the leaks, very important. Just a quick word on employment multipliers, and this shouldn't be a surprise, but it's kind of neat to see it up and color-coded. Direct, so you have a business that's set up in your community, and there are several good examples in that video. Jobs created in an industry within the region, so the jobs, direct jobs, those jobs associated with whatever's being manufactured or sold. Indirect, so those employees now have money to spend based on their employment. They're going to spend it locally, you hope, you want. And induced, so again, that much farther out. Those store owners that are buying supplies or they're buying merchandise to support the transactions that come from the employees themselves. So you can see the ripple effect of how important your local business is with respect to the jobs that they have and the businesses that are located here. On the flip side, you lose a job and all of those areas are impacted as well. I remember when we lost some factories in Gananoque, I talked to merchants in the main street and asked them, how is this affecting you? And they said all the layaways this Christmas are gone. They're done. Because these guys they know they're losing their job in the new year, and it impacts the merchants on the main street. So it goes both ways. So you can have a positive impact right down the line, and then the negative when they leave. So there's a wide spectrum of economic development activities that a municipality can take, and typically you don't see them do them all, or they'll implode and explode and they'll never want to do it again. But there are certain activities that they can do, and like I said, there's no pressure. The messaging here isn't that you have to do all of these, but there are some that you could do, and we want to make sure that we address them. So business development, so business retention and expansion, which is a program that we offer, understanding the businesses that you have here, where their opportunities and challenges lie. Business counseling, so and that's not necessarily the municipality providing counseling, but it can mean the business is able to point to counseling support for businesses. If there's a business incubator online, again, that helps local business. Mentorship, understanding who your businesses are, pointing people for best practice information to a like business, and professional development workshops. So, you can see a municipality having a meeting set up on an evening where businesses can get together and network, because typically during the day, and they're not going to be the ones setting it up, this would never happen. And if a municipality was to have an evening where they would say, look, we have a room, get together and talk about, what's working or not with respect to your business, that's very, very appreciated. So these are just different ways that a municipality can support local business. Access to capital, not necessarily from the municipality, but pointing towards the Community Futures Development or the Rural Economic Development Program, any programming that can support business. If they have someone on the inside that's able to or has established a relationship with different ministries, whether they're federal or provincial or other communities, that's very, very important, because they can then channel those resources to who needs them. Business networking, again, business recognition, understanding who's been here a long time. Do they need a shout out? Do they need to be recognized to know that they're important? Again, these are things that help. And business resources, and that can be all levels of government and other municipalities as well. So very, very key. Community revitalization. So some municipalities will focus on their downtown. They may have a community improvement plan that allow them to provide financial support for facade improvement, that kind of thing. That's typically the only way that a municipality can do that. If they don't, it's called bonusing, and that's not allowed at all. So you'd have to have a community improvement plan to do that. But the municipality on its own can look at how to improve its streetscape, whether it's through furniture or branding, business recruitment, understanding who you want to pull in. Do you have someone on the inside that's able to kind of target businesses that will complement what you've got? You need to kind of know what you want to attract, and again, that's looking forward with a strategy to see who you want to get into your community. Environmental and greening, so again, if it's streetscape plantings, community gardens, that kind of thing, those things matter, and people look for that kind of stuff when they're looking at other communities, especially outside of larger urbans. We're starting to look at the impact that millennials are having on the economy. So this is the age demographic that is, my daughters are this age, so I look at that and the whites in my eyes show, and I stay up at night because I'm thinking, boy, these are millennials, and millennials are different than Gen Xers or baby boomers. They don't leave home till later. They don't purchase as often. They have completely different ways of doing business. So how would you want to prepare yourself to attract that age demographic? And some of them were shown in the video, so just things like that. First impressions, some communities are partnering with others through our ministry to get a first impression, to say, come to our community, don't tell us when you're coming, fill out a report and tell us what you like and don't like, and we'll do the same to you. And they're really, really fascinating, and they're a lot of fun, and they don't cost anything, and it allows you to kind of tell it like it is to another community. So it's not a shaming or anything like that, but it's a first impression, and they're great, and it's something that we offer too. Workforce development, again, knowing who's around with respect to your community in terms of the skills that they have to bring to employment. So knowing having a relationship with your workforce development board, that's really, really important, because you want to know if there's a business in your community that needs skilled people and they can't get it, or they don't know where to look. If the municipality can play a role in connecting them with someone who does, that could prevent that business from migrating out. And I've seen that where a business has said, look, I would have stayed, but I didn't know where to get this kind of skill set. And it's like, whoa, you could have just checked with, A, B, C, or D, and we could have prevented you from leaving. So being aware like that, that's a worst case scenario, but it does happen. Youth engagement and retention, always that migration out with youth. As my daughter would say, I can't wait to get out again in Aquay. I don't want to be here anymore. And it's like, yeah, go learn something and come back. Bring that value added back to this community. That's where we look at that. Newcomer attraction and retention. Again, if your municipality is looking at attracting people, either if they're out of province, from another community, internationally, it's stuff to consider. Like especially being as close as you are to Ottawa, do you want to introduce a newcomer or a different demographic to your community? And there are resources available through us to help you do that. Investment attraction, so again, lead generation activities, knowing what to promote, targeted calls. It used to say cold calls, but we don't believe in cold calls anymore. You should know who you're going after through strategic planning or some kind of effort to see what the best fits are. Trade shows, if you have them. Communication with business development staff, not only within your community, but others that neighbor you. What are the trends that are going on? Site selector inquiries, they still exist. The thing that's changed over the years is the speed in which they want your information. They typically want it, within 5 minutes of asking. So there's a big scramble. So you want to make sure you have someone on the inside or some method of responding with the right information when they want it. Because if you don't, they'll hop over you and check with the next community to see if they've got it online. Familiarization tours, FAM tours, again, bringing people in once you've decided on the sector that you want to pull into your community, showing them what you've got. Sometimes people just need to be here and see what's going on to make a decision. And site certification. So if you have a business park, business that's serviced, whatever, you want to make sure that people are aware of that. There are tools that you can use to have them certified provincially from a provincial perspective. But even if that's not the goal, to get them recognized on a provincial level through us, making sure that they are recognized and that it's marketed to the demographic that you want to see it, so that if you have a site, you want to populate it and you want to show who's there as well. And not everyone has a business park, so if you do have one, definitely you want to be in a position to promote it. Branding and communications, again, the video, I'll go back to that. It's good having a video because you can just drop back to that. I mean, it's very easy. It makes it fun. Marketing communications. Community image or brand development and management. What messaging do you want to go out there to get people to come in? If it has to do with your and it's his.
That's our economic development.
That's right. Yeah. I'm waiting for another video to start. That's right. That's good. He's embarrassed. That's right. Well, I spilled water on me, so he's allowed to do that. Marketing, development, material, municipality looking and making sure that their branding efforts are in sync, cohesive, and reflect, input from the community. Like, this is who we are. Website and social media, making sure that your website reflects what you've got to offer. You don't want your website to look like the back of a prescription bottle, right? Text. If that's not what you're all about. If it's a waterfront, I'll just go back to again because it's right on the water. Every web page on that thing has something to do with our waterfront or the topography around us, because that's what we're trying to pitch. And media relations, having a good relationship with local media, so that if a new business comes in, perhaps there's a means that local media can promote the fact that they've arrived. You'd also be in a position to hand them a bit of a warm lead as well, so it's kind of a give and take. But having a good relationship with them is important too. Planning and infrastructure, so depending on the size of the community, like I had mentioned, community improvement plans, if that's something that you want to look at. Infrastructure development, do you have the water and sewer capacity to support, the businesses, the industries that you're going after? Very, very important, because if you don't, then you don't want to disappoint people that land at your doorstep and are looking for something that you can't offer. An economic development strategy, again, very, very handy because it allows council and staff and anyone who asks, it gives them an opportunity to see the direction that was arrived at jointly and together, and it can be updated on a regular basis. But it's great because you can always point to and say, this is who our target market is, this is who we're going after, and everyone's on the same page. So we're big fans of that. And our ministry can help facilitate the development of those as well. So from a data perspective, we can offer all sorts of different tools if you're looking at different markets to attract, if you're wanting to understand, what businesses exist in Renfrew County, what, even within the township. We have tools, something like Analyst that I'm into up to my neck right now for another community, but finding out, they wanted to know how many farms exist within the community, what's forestry look like in their community, we can help and get that information out to you to support an initiative in any direction. So.
And that report that you provided to me, the analyst tool, is in your package, specific to Whitewater and the workforce that exists here.
Yeah, and that's this deep. So, you know, if you said can't go deeper, you know, there's a lot in there. That's just a very high level sampling of what we can go after, and we can provide a license to your staff if you designate a staff to access that analyst tool. So typically it's on a month-by-month basis, but they can go in there and dig and dig and dig and dig. So that's something we provide for free. And again, advisors such as myself, and training on any of these tools we can provide too. Research and information management, very, very important with respect to community economic development, even in a rural context. So, you know, if you have a business or producer directory, if you have a heavy ag presence, you want to make sure they're listed as well as producers and businesses. Land and property inventory, very, very important, because people are looking to say, okay, it's really nice to go there, but what have you got? How's it zoned? What are the, you know, the services? Are we able to connect, that kind of thing? Newcomers and community indicators with respect to youth and like I said before, newcomers, who's coming in, what demographics are represented within your community. So having access to that or knowing at least where to look is very, very important. And so just to kind of close, focus sector development. This is really important. So understanding what you want to go after. It's easy to say, you know, we're interested in economic development, but kind of drilling down and saying, you know, well, what exactly? Is it tourism? Is it agriculture? Manufacturing, retail? Is it a bit of all of them? Is it more of one than the other? Understanding that is really, really important because it allows you to focus your resources through a strategic process to get there. And in turn, how you measure success becomes a lot easier and a little more straightforward when you have a kind of plan to get at that position in the first place. So, and with any of these, again, we have tools that we can bring forward to help. So, I wanted to end it there just because I didn't know how much time. Is that okay? So, if there's questions, happy to answer them. Questions with respect to any of our programming, Christine knows that she can call me and I can go through a whole list of them. But I am the local advisor for Renfrew County, so I'm your guy and happy to answer any questions.
Councillor Jackson?
Have you ever seen where a municipality supports development for commercial enterprises by paying for water, sewer, or lanes that need to be put in, turning lanes? Have you ever seen a municipality pay for that extension?
I've seen, I'm just thinking back, but I'm not sure if the municipality paid for it. In Gananoque, we were right on the 401 and Home Hardware was coming in. And they had to get a traffic study done to see if the MTO required a set of lights. And it turned out that they didn't. We were directed as staff to facilitate that as best we could within our own parameters of what we did through economic development and planning. So we supported through that. You have to be careful when the municipality is paying because it can easily fall under bonusing. So you have to watch out.
Can you explain bonusing a little bit for council?
Sure. So I should have, is Steve Seller your MMAH guy? So Steve should be here just to back me up. But bonusing, so you can't provide money directly to support a business. So that's bonusing. So say if there's a facade improvement program and you didn't have a community improvement plan in your downtown, you couldn't give a business owner money to improve his sign or paint or anything like that. And it's under the Municipal Act. If you look at, I forget which section it is, but it says you can't do that. So you'd have to have a CIP in place and an area defined within which you could make those grants available to local business. The grant or a loan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any, Mayor Johnson?
Would it be possible for us or any municipality to become a partner and to provide some part of some project that would benefit more than just one business? Would that be required to do the same way?
if it involved money, you'd have to again, if it's resources outside of like a monetary thing, then you could partner with whoever you wanted. But if it has to do with money, if you're providing an incentive or money, it has to fall under a CIP.
Okay, and the CIP is achieved how?
Sorry, what was that?
The CIP is achieved by an official plan amendment, which allows for example, matching grants. That's what we did in Cohill for facade improvement. You have a business on Main Street. We got our community improvement plan in place through an official plan amendment, and then you came to the township, you filled out your form, we gave you, you put in $500, we matched it with $500. Now you have $1,000 to fix the awning on your Remax business on Main Street.
Yeah, and one of the pluses to that is sometimes it's that, and depending on whatever the amount is, it's just enough to get it done, whereas it would never happen otherwise. And whether it's a grant or it's a loan, it's great to see when municipalities will do like a year report and show how that CIP has leveraged investment from within. It's quite astonishing what actually happens when that little bit extra is given. So.
Yes. I personally feel that we're in an age of high competition for businesses and for development and so forth, and so I'm very interested in ways that we can legally promote and assist only industry or business, is because when you bring in a business, you bring in employment, and you everything else starts to grow, right? And that's very competitive right now. There's a lot of municipalities are doing things to help. So we just need to know how.
Yeah, and a lot of what we're seeing municipalities do is coming up with a plan to do that. So they're being very strategic about it, because they want to make sure it gets done within a set of time, and there's been adequate consultation. And whether you call it a strategic action plan or strategic economic development action plan, we can help with that. We have resources online that we can make available, guides. But what we're seeing now is municipalities kind of tightening up their game and actually creating a plan specifically with economic development in mind, because they have specific goals. They're serious enough about it, and like you said, there's competition out there.
Councillor Jackson.
My understanding for a community improvement plan or a CIP is that it would have to be available for everyone and not just a specific property or developer or otherwise. It would have to be available across the board, or a downtown area.
Yeah, be a defined area. And some municipalities would use, if they have a BIA, they could use the same boundaries as the BIA, but they would identify an area. Yeah, you couldn't point it at one.
Christine?
There's a defined project area that's part of the official plan amendment criteria, and then that basically says from number 2 on Main Street to number 100 on Main Street, that's the area that is included in that community improvement plan.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Or you could specifically say for business development only, that you would do that too, for it. So you would earmark it for anything within a certain area of business. If they come in, you would help get to promote it.
Yeah, you would identify and approve what supports you would put in place.
It would be all our guidelines, correct?
Yeah, you would craft whatever your support would be. So if some municipalities do facade improvement, there's a range of different things. There's a brownfield. That's a bit more detailed, but there's a brownfield component too if you have contaminated land. And if you want to get deeper into CIPs and how they work, I would recommend having MMAH, Municipal Affairs and Housing, come down and give you a really good presentation on CIPs, because it's under their act. So.
Christine?
I'd like to speak to Steve Seller and get some more information about the industrial side of community improvement plans and bonusing, and provide a more fulsome package of information for you. So.
Okay. Councillor Olmsted?
Is the Department of Rural Affairs in charge of P3 partnerships as well?
Public-private?
Private partnerships?
No. I think you might get more of that from MMAH in terms of how that's structured through Steve Seller's ministry. So, and again, as an advisor, he is to me, and Christine is aware of that. I mean, that would be easy to get that information from him.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No? Okay, on behalf of council, I'd like to thank you for your informative talk, Kent, and for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're just going to take a sec here for the mayor.